Recording is in progress. Welcome to Astrology Unplugged. I am Rick DiClemente from the Pittsburgh area, and my website is starself.com. I want to take this time to thank all the people who have been kindly donating to the website for the cost of this program, which I really appreciate. A couple of things before we get started. I know we're having some very heavy duty things happen worldwide. And what do I keep telling you? I keep telling you to know where Mars is. Where is Mars? Where is Mars now? Well, Pluto has gone completely around and is exactly back where it was in 1776, and Mars is there too. Mars and Pluto are together. On Mars is on the Pluto return. Enough said. That's why you got to know this little bugger who triggers things, and also that's why we're getting these really unfortunate murmurings about atomic weapons. Because anytime Mars, the trigger is with Pluto, those kind of combinations become quite possible. We certainly hope not. Before I get to my guest for tonight, I'm letting you know, last week was the wonderful talk with Stephen Poplin, in case you didn't catch it. Next week, I'm going pure astrology. I'm going to change the show. The new show is going to be a lot of me, of course, but it's going to be a lot of guests because we're in a rough situation now, and we need all kind of guests to help us empower ourselves in many different ways, lots of different types of encouragement, and that's what I've decided to do. So next week, your guest will be me, and I will be talking about Russia's chart, Ukraine, Putin, Zelensky, GOP, Marjorie Taylor Greene, Manchin, and I'm going to be talking a lot about what I'm going to really be pushing, and that is for the U.S. Constitution version 2.0. Tonight, we're going to get with one of my favorite guests, my favorite people in the world. I just love Jennifer. Jennifer Evanko is here, and Jennifer has a background which is just so vast and so big spiritually that I really liked how she defined herself in her bio, and she defined herself thusly as a human potentialist. And remember, she studied for a long time with Deepak Chopra. She's studied with Jane Houston. Thank you. That's why Liza is here, to remember all things I forget. Studied with Jane Houston. She is a soul mentor, and my main interest is she is a mystic explorer, and I want to go on some explorations with her. Welcome, Miss Jennifer.
Thank you so much, Rick. And, I love what you're doing and that you're going back to doing all astrology, because I think we all need to step into our gifts and our talents, because we need that right now. And that's
we need a lot of different things. And thank you very much. My first guest 6 years ago was Leanne, who's with us tonight. And she used to have a trio partnership with Jennifer and another lady, and we had those three on to talk about Dom and her at the time, the large commune type place in northern Italy. Jennifer, how are you, dear?
I'm doing wonderful. Dom and Her is actually one of the places where I did a lot of studies with the mystery schools, and it's a eco-spiritual community in northern Italy.
I knew I'd get the wrong word.
That's okay.
Eco-spiritual community in northern Italy.
Yes.
How come when I went to Italy, it wasn't there yet? Anyhow.
It's been there 40 years. It's been there 45
That's
years.
really impressive. Now, I know you and John, your husband, have largely been living in the Pittsburgh area. Now I think you're in North Carolina?
We're in Cary. Actually, we sold our house in about 4 hours in May.
Wow.
And didn't expect to sell it that quickly. And then we got on the road and spent 7 months kind of traveling around the country, deciding where we wanted to go. We didn't end up in Dakota. Is that where you are, Susan?
Yeah.
Didn't go there.
South
A little
Dakota.
too, yeah, a little too cold. But I did end up in Egypt for a while, and all fascinating places.
And yeah, I know you went to Jerusalem. Fascinating things. I can't even begin to explain what Jennifer and her friends did when I first got here 15 years ago in Pittsburgh. But they're just at the pinnacle of what's happening in the Pittsburgh area. And I know that they're spreading out throughout the country now. Um, I know you do a lot of things, and the main reason I have you on is because I know that you are a Virgo, and I have my number one clients that come to me are Virgo women. And the reason I enjoy that is because Virgos are all about no whining, let's get to work, let's pick ourselves up by the boots. And we're in a troubled time right now. I don't have to tell anybody about that. It's very sad what's going on in Ukraine, etc. And this show, I think you see a lot of seekers here, and I'm having you on because of anything you can do to help us, to help ourselves. So with that, I give you whatever you'd like to discuss.
Wonderful. Well, I'm very interested in human potential. As you mentioned, I call myself a human potentialist. I had the luxury of knowing people such as Leanne and Gina in my late 20s, and was able to pursue a passion of studying what makes people grow and evolve, and what is the difference between those people that seem to have magic, make things manifest, and most of us who are stuck in normal routines, boring routines in some cases. And I spent the last 30 years really studying this and working. Had the luxury, the blessing to work with people like Jean Houston and travel with her for 5 years, 6 years. And what I found is right now it's like that was all the work that was needed for now. Rick mentioned how we're being called now to really step up. And I feel it even more. You said that Virgos tend to not want to whine. They just want to make things happen and go. I haven't felt it like I feel it now in my life. I feel now is even stronger, that it's time to act. It's time to move. And yet we find ourselves in a period of life where there's such stress in the world. There's so much happening. There's so much bombardment of information. We don't realize that even good stress, even good information can be stressful on our systems because it's just an overload of so much coming at us in every moment. And so what happens is biologically, we start to go into that fight, flight, freeze, or psychologically, we go into that ego reactive response because it's just too much to handle everything. And the more that action happens, the more we just go into habits and into things that we've done in the past so we can do it in the future, so we can keep moving forward. And this doesn't work in a world that we're facing now. Someone told me the other day, and I kind of like this, is we don't want to live in and recreate the world we're living in right now. We don't want to keep in that world. I think we all can agree. It's time for new vision, new potentials. But how do we get there? That's the question.
Lots of different ideas.
Yeah. Well, in my work, I like to bring all these different ideas together. I think we need all these different ideas. Human potential is about looking at what makes me hum, what makes you hum. How do we create together? It's not me creating what the other person is doing. It's something inside of me that's trying to come out, that's needed for everybody. And that's what I see in everybody I work with. Some of the things that I really, I rely on first is meditation. I am a big proponent for meditation. I teach Deepak Chopra's primordial sound, but I also teach that anyone can meditate. You don't have to sit in a chair and force your mind to be quiet and meditate the way we imagine meditation. Sometimes just walking out in nature, a little bit of mindfulness, running, jogging. People find that zone when they're jogging. Or I laugh, John might kill me, but when he used to race cars, he'd get on the track and he'd get into a meditative state, because you don't have room to think thoughts. You have to be right where you are on that track when you're going very fast. And that's a meditation. How many people here meditate? Raise your hands. Oh, good. So I'm speaking to the choir, right? Perfect. So meditation, we know, helps us give us a pause. So we're not just reacting. The more we have a regular practice of meditation, the more we naturally have a pause, and we're connecting more with our desires, our true desires. You know, I don't know if you've ever heard of the software of the soul.
No.
I'm going to share that. Okay. Excuse me here while I share my screen.
Good. I'm glad that's what it's working.
Okay, good. So this is the world we're in right now, right? We're just stressed.
Yeah, I think so.
I'm going to flip through these. Hold on. Oops, there we go. So, and when we're stressed, I mentioned we have that natural response, that biological response. You know, there's no stopping it. We naturally have that tendency to go into that fight, flight, and freeze response. There are higher responses that we can grow into as we become meditators and raise our consciousness. We can go more into the creative responses, and then even into higher levels, which don't have the same biological effect on our body, the stress levels, the increased heart disease, and all the other things that happen. But it starts with here. Let's come back to conscious choice making. I think I was very fascinated to find out that when I reflected on how do we make our choices, and the fact that we don't really act on our free will. I mean, I would think, you know, if someone just asked me quickly, do you have free will? And it's like, of course I do, right? But there's a difference of free will at the level of the mind and free will at the level of the soul. And we often stay at that level of the mind, and that's where our habits are, and that habitual patterns. So how do we make choices in any given moment? And that's something called the software of the soul. This is a teaching from Deepak Chopra, and actually from before that, from ancient India. But they talk about choices being made based on our past actions. From an action, we have a memory. And then from a memory, we get a desire. And the desire prompts us to the next action. Pretty easy, right? Action, memory, desire. But unfortunately, as we get stressed, as we have more and more happening in our life, we get stuck in a loop between action and memory. We skip desire. We put less emphasis on the desire. So it's action, memory, action, memory. And that also is kind of encouraged by marketing and media, news. They don't like us to really focus on what our desires are. Just keep us at action and memory. I always give the example of Starbucks. For me, you know, I've had that first cup of coffee. To me, it's a ritual. I go and I get my cup of coffee, and there's that relaxing, right? So it's the memory and the action. I'm driving down the road. I see a Starbucks. I'm pulling in and ordering that Starbucks before I even realize what I'm doing. Right? Action, memory. There's a great little tool they talk about to remember soda. And soda means to stop, to observe, detach, and then act. And this is a way to break that pattern, to get out of those habitual movements, especially if you're in a heated moment, to remember soda and say, okay, stop for a moment, observe what's happening, kind of at a higher level, look down at the whole situation, detach from all your emotional triggers, and then act. And you're at the level of response instead of reaction. The problem is right now, we don't usually have that pause. That doesn't come naturally. You know, you don't remember until a couple hours later. It's like, oh gosh, I wish I stopped. I didn't want to yell at my kids, or I didn't want to do that. And we're in this hamster wheel, action, memory, and desire's in there somewhere, but it's not a real true desire. It's just a mental desire. So the way to get out of this, to get out of your rut and to really get into that conscious choice making, is to put your awareness on your real desire. And as I said, meditation brings us towards that freedom, that ability to pause naturally without even thinking about it. You pause and you start acting from that soul level. What are my real desires? So when you meditate, whether you do a mantra, a breath, mindfulness, prayer, walk in nature, whatever meditation technique that brings you into that moment where you're not bombarded by all the thoughts. It's often, let me turn this off for a second. Wrong computer. Here. So when we meditate and we stop and we pause, it's good to bring to mind some soul questions. This is a technique we use all the time in my meditations. And it's not to answer the questions, but to plant the seeds to these soul questions. Very powerful technique. So even if you just breathe for a few moments, like that deep prana breathing, where you breathe in through your nose and you breathe out through your mouth, and you do that until you feel that stillness. And then just think the question, who am I? Who am I really? And just, don't try to answer, just watch what comes. Any thoughts that come, any ideas, any impressions, just planting the seed. Then the next question, after a few moments, is what do I want? What do I really want? Again, just the question. And then you pause and just listen. Any impressions that come. And then the third question, what is my purpose? How do I serve? And just let those answers come. And then I usually take a deep breath in, and then I start my meditation, releasing all the questions, any answers that may come, and just start your meditation. And this is a good way, again, to activate yourself at that soul level, to start opening to those deeper desires, those deeper things that are trying to unfold inside of you. This is where our greater potentials are inside of us, where the synchronicities come in our life outside. And when we're more in touch with our inner direction, our inner soul, and then we start seeing the synchronicities because we start paying attention more to what we really want. And then there's cues the universe gives us, and things start opening up, allowing us not only conscious choice making, but opportunities come that allow us to make more important choices that move us in a direction of unfolding, a direction of why you are here in this moment, in this world. We often live in shallow shadows of ourselves, stuck in these habitual movements and reactions, and we don't give enough energy to the dreams that are inside of us, to the hidden goddesses and gods that are inside of us, trying to be played with and explored in our lives. I used to have a dream, and I wouldn't tell anybody this, but I would see myself with sandals on my feet, wearing a robe, carrying a staff, and leading people somewhere. And this was kind of a hidden dream. I didn't like to tell people that, but it really is an archetype of who I am, an idea of being able to show people a path, a direction. And so when I embrace that and I'm not afraid of it, then I can live a bigger life and move to that next step where I can be of even more service and more help to people when I acknowledge this is who I really am. And then you have that power. And it's interesting, each person, everyone on this call has a secret inside of them of who they are. And nobody can do it as well as you can. And there's people waiting for you to give your voice. And so in this time, it's interesting. I was listening to Rick's talk last week about Pluto and about the things we're going through and how important it is now for us to step into our greater potential. Because once we start opening that door and moving in that direction, then it gets bigger. It opens even more. And then we start coming together with the people that you need, the tools you need. Leanne's a great example in my life of someone that when you start to open into the possible of what you can do and what your passions are, then the people show up that you can do it with. We're not in a world right now where there's going to be a single person leading the charge. We no longer can rely on Leonardo da Vinci for a Renaissance. It's in each and every one of us, the pieces of the Renaissance, the next Renaissance. And we come together, and together we can build that vision. As my teacher, Jean, used to say, to envision a world that works. And I think that's the most important thing right now, is to not just envision it, to dream really big, but also then to step into that, to look at ways that we can start creating that, because we have the talents. So that was my whole talk, and I just did it in how long? 15 minutes?
Yeah, well, you're really efficient. That was wonderful. I do want to say a couple of things before I forget. I don't know what it is, but I do have to seem to have an ability at some level at grokking what's happening with the collective. I've had this all my life, and I don't know why, and I'm just grateful to have it. Now, the reason I want to share that with you is this thing going on in Ukraine now. I'm grokking something new, and I want to share it with you. Yeah, I usually don't share it unless I'm pretty sure. I think things are going to change a lot. I think they are up against a new world. The collective is different. I think the old push coming to shove isn't going to work anymore. I'm not going to go too far with this, but I think it is reason for hope. And I think that it's obvious that Jennifer's picking up what I've been picking up for months. But I've been telling you for months now, if you're thinking big, think bigger. If you want to do something, go bigger. And I'm not spending a lot of time with people and their doubts. I'm telling them, you know what you're doing, and go do it, because we need meta teachers. That's the word I keep getting, meta teachers. Go teach the teachers, because there's a lot of people that don't know a whole lot that want to learn. There are a lot of people that have ability. They just need a little bit of encouragement. But I'm very interested tonight, Jennifer, in this thing that you and Leanne talk about so casually. You talk because it's so easy for you. It's not something that comes easy to me. What are you talking about? I'm a down to earth Capricorn. Give me some examples. How does this work when you can access your higher self for direction from your higher self? Because I have experienced that my higher self is me, and it is a higher self, and it's also one with God, and the interconnections are confusing. But how is it that you talk and instruct about that part of us?
First of all, I want to say I need the Capricorns in my life just to bring me into that practical place. So thank you.
I'm glad somebody needs us for something, except to blame us for everything.
Yeah. So the beautiful thing is, it happens naturally, and it happens differently for each person. Okay. For me, I go into my meditation, I can connect, and I'm going to share a meditation with everybody towards the end here. I have about a 15-minute meditation that will help you connect with your higher self. And as the tool I use is called an entelechy. An entelechy is a Greek word that means that Aristotle used when he said it is the entelechy of an acorn to be an oak tree, meaning that fully encoded inside of that acorn is everything there is needed to be the oak tree. So we can say it's the entelechy of a baby to be an adult. But we can also say it is the entelechy of you to be fully realized, as if you did 1,000 years of homework, human homework, to have all that potential inside of you. It's all coded inside of you. So when I say that we connect with our higher self, we actually do a guided, I hate to say guided meditation, because I believe this is more of a journey. Meditation kind of limits it. Journey opens it up to possibilities, and it is as big as you make it, as you allow it to be.
How do you spell entelechy?
Entelechy is ENTELECHY. Entelechy.
Oh, okay. Okay, thank you.
Okay. So we connect with our entelechy just by some techniques that we use that have been used for eons. People have been using these same entrainment ways to connect with your higher self, and I'll run it through. You'll experience that in the meditation. And whether you're at the level of your mind and you're just thinking about, okay, I'm going to imagine that my IntelliKey is in front of me, this person that looks like me, that's my higher self, is a light form in front of me, putting their hands over mine. I'm going to guide you through this. And I'm going to breathe into my hands, and you might be at your mind following all along, or you might go deeper. Like some people have that ability to just go real deep and drop in and then just kind of witness and experience it. Maybe you feel it, maybe you hear it, maybe you see it. All the different senses happen, okay? The thing is, especially in this time when we're doing collective work, I like to do this with groups. We are forming a cohesive field. And so we're all going into this journey together. And when we all go into the journey together, we're receiving from all different levels information and energy. Energy is information, right? So we're receiving through all the different ways that we process information and energy, through all our outer senses, through our skin, through our inner senses, our visions, our hearing, through our mind, through all these different levels. And as a group, we're actually being activated at all these different levels, even if we're only perceiving just at the mind. So I might be a type of person that thinks things, and I'm there following along with this meditation, thinking I'm not really getting much, but I'm going to go with it. And then when I finish the meditation and I go into my dreams that night, I'm starting to get activated. Or I daydream during the day, the next day or the week. I start noticing things, or things start popping a little bit more. You get activated in your own way by your higher self. You already have a relationship with your higher self. You've had moments in your life when you know something beyond any reason why you should know it, or you are guided in a certain direction. And you know how that happens for you, Rick. And it might not be in this guidance, an angel that comes to me and says, go that direction, but you have a knowing, like you just said with what's happening with Russia. And that's your higher self connecting in with you.
Well, the one thing I'm trying to do with folks is, for whatever reason, we have not been encouraged from birth. We have not been taught correctly. We have not been encouraged. And I find so many people, Jennifer, who are aiming so low. And when I ask the question, what do you want to do? Oh, I don't know. Well, what do you want to do? It's almost like a lot of them, it's the first time they've had the thought. It's, am I allowed to think this thought? And I get on this firecracker with them and start just handing out permission slips. I don't have permission slips, but I hand them out, and boy, people just suck it up. People, you wouldn't believe how much people need a permission slip. And once they got it, they just feel great about it. But it's really amazing how it's unfortunate that we've done this to ourselves. And
Well,
it's exciting. It's exciting that we're turning it around.
well, and I, I might say it's not unfortunate. It might be timing. I think we are at the point in the collective ready to make this big shift.
That's exactly right.
I think about Winston Churchill was a stutterer, right?
Right.
Until it was time for him to really become a speaker. And so that stuttering actually protected his speaking ability, and then he had more impact. So I just think now's the time, and people need to wake up.
I think you're exactly right. And it's very, very exciting. And when we look back 30, 40 years ago, and we were just getting the birth of a little bit of a healer here and a massage person here, and a little bit of psychic here, it was just dribs and drabs. And now it's just going crazy. And I have so many people that want to quit their day job and they want to be a full-time healer. And it's not an easy transition, but I certainly am behind them and encourage them. Now, one thing I wanted to ask you about, for instance, me, I have a lot of crazy dreams. They seem to be only early in the morning, but maybe I have them all night and only remember the last one. But I seem to be very industrious. I'm working hard at a college, installing software, working on a conveyor belt, trying to get people to use this and get to use that, right? Teaching astrology, trying to find my car and I can't find my car, trying to find my car. Where's my car? So I'm real industrious, but I don't feel like it's real useful. How can a person, I know you're not a dream expert, but how can a person start influencing that your dreams become more informative and productive?
Okay, so there's different levels of dreams, right? There's the dreams that are organizing our day, our psychology. So one technique people do is to recapitulate your day before you go to sleep. I don't know if you've heard of this before, where you actually, when you lay down, the last thing you do before you go to sleep, well, there's two things. The second to last thing you do is flow through your day from the moment you woke up and just kind of play it back like a movie of what you did all day. And it doesn't have to be detailed, just the main points. And that's kind of organizing your day so that when you go into your dreams, it doesn't have to try and organize your day, because it's going to be trying to process everything that you've done. Again, thinking about how much we are bombarded all day long by so much input into our, our brain receives everything. Our mind slows it down so that we're thinking about only certain things. We're not thinking about all the other things that are happening to us, but our brain then has to process all this detail later. And that's what it does in those busy dreams where where's my car, all these kind of organizing dreams. What I want to talk about when I talk about dreams isn't those necessarily those nighttime dreams. I'm talking about the dreams of your soul, the deep desires.
I want to hear about this.
Okay. The second thing before you go to sleep is always to talk to the dream maestro. That's what Gene Houston used to say. Imagine there's a dream maestro who's going to orchestrate your dreams, and have a little conversation with that maestro before you go to sleep, asking questions or telling them that you want to go in a specific direction with your dream. After a while, if you do this recapitulation and then you start even dialogue journaling with your maestro before you go to bed, you start to entrain that ability to dream in certain directions or answers, questions you might get. It's just a technique. But dreaming from your soul is a little bit different. Sometimes it happens spontaneously at night. I'm not good at remembering my dreams because I don't put the energy into doing that. It's something I want to change. But we do spontaneously have dreams that are soul dreams at night. Other times we can have it in meditation, or we can have it even in daydreaming, or there's people that are that get downloads that they don't actually, have a vision or a sound or anything that they know they're getting a download. They just have a knowing. They have a complete knowing about something that just kind of comes to them, a complete sentient knowing. That's the person that maybe doesn't call it a dream, but their soul is connecting with them. When I do meditations, especially when we do it with a group, again, we get into that cohesive field of the group. So you're able to go a little deeper than you would normally when you meditate with a group. And there's where you're able to ask those questions, maybe the soul questions, or ask a specific question, and then let your soul answer. Not, it's getting to a place where you're almost beyond the thoughts. You're just allowing these impressions to come. And it can come through any sense. It can come through feeling, taste, smell, touch, sight. These impressions come. And then in your waking outside of your meditation, the meaning and the understanding comes. This is, again, how we connect with our soul and nourish those soul dreams. Why am I here? What is my purpose? What do I really want? These are soul dreams answer those questions.
So this soul, people have tried so long, so many years and in different endeavors to describe where and what the soul is. It sounds to me like the soul is the God part of you. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, there's, I studied for many years the Vedas, in ancient India, Ayurveda, Vedas. And so I follow their, actually I have a beautiful slide if you want me to show it, that shows about the soul. See if I can get it to work again.
Are you using PowerPoint or?
Yes, I am.
Okay.
I'm trying to get the screen to, whoops, share. Am I on it? No. Well, anyways, there's a, oh, there it is. Sorry. Give me just a sec because I like this diagram.
That's all right. Take your time.
Yeah.
We've got all the time in the world.
Oops, there we go. Okay, here we go. I don't know if you've seen something like this before. Have you ever seen this?
Yeah,
Rick?
I've seen similar things.
I've seen
Yeah.
it as a ball also, with the center being
Yeah.
collective, the universal. But we have our subtle body, our physical body. The subtle body is the mind, the intellect, and the ego. And then we have the causal body, which is the source of everything, which has our personal soul. And the personal soul here is the level of our dreams and our memories and who we are and our desires. Then below that, we have that collective soul, which we tap into, where the archetypes and the myths and the gods and goddesses reside. And then below that is that universal consciousness. And so in this model, which I love, you start at the top, and in the physical body, we close our eyes, and we close out the environment. We come into our body, and then we go a little bit deeper into that energy. We can feel and sense the energy, the aura, the prana. We go beneath that, and you come to your mind. And that's that place where I said it's kind of like if you think of a sidewalk when it's raining, and all the raindrops are like sensory inputs hitting our brain, hitting our mind. And so that's that level of where we're just receiving everything. And below that is the intellect, where we start taking all that sensory input and saying, basically, yum yuck, this is good, this is bad, the yum yuck machine. And then below that is where we start creating who I am. We take what the intellect has given us, and we own certain things, and we say other parts are not us. And so we're moving down into subtler and subtler levels till we come to the causal body, where we have that personal soul, and that's our pure desires, our pure memory, our soul dreams. And then we connect all the way down to the universal. What I like here, and I'll finish up real quick, is that this is done as an hourglass, showing the top, the physical realm, all the way out to our stars and our planets and the universe and the cosmos is unlimited, infinite. But just as infinite and unlimited is what we have inside, our reservoir, our connection. And our work here is this center here, where it's constricted at the ego level. It's not to get rid of the ego. I don't believe that we're supposed to not have an ego. That's our tool.
That's right.
We expand this channel here so that we flow more of who we are through our beautiful tool, our ego, and our this presence on earth, and we manifest into the physical world. And so it's about expanding this part right here.
Well, that makes total sense. And there was a lot of danger, a lot of dangerous things that were spread around in your early 70s when people were maniacally trying to get rid of their ego. And Liza and I spent a lot of time in this book that we wrote, talking about the Pisces nature and talking about getting rid of the ego, but then realizing that what Pisces needs is really a stronger ego, but to keep it in perspective, One of the things I'm hearing tonight from all this, I'm hearing a few things. One of the things is people should be inspired now, because there is inspiration out there. The inspiration field has been jacked up. You see, astrology is really good for some things, and it's not good for others. It's a mid-level. It's underneath the personality. And most people are real content driving their car and not bending over and pulling out the map that's under their seat. And you got a map under your seat that tells you when this is going to happen, when that's going to happen, how this is and all. And the astrology can really help you, yes. But the ultimate person is the person that doesn't even need astrology. They can feel the wind blowing, they go with it. They can feel the blue wind combine, they turn blue. They feel the yellow wind, and they turn yellow. These are the people who are special. They have special sensitivity. But until you get there, it's highly, highly suggested that you get your chart done, and you get it done by someone who can explain it to you so you can understand your archetypal nature. Also, it's really amazing to me how people want to work with me, or they want to work with you. If you're good at what you do, they're going to work with you. People want to know this stuff. They're tired of being a mystery to themselves. And one of the things I'm really pushing now, and you're reminding me of tonight, is we're happening right now. And what I said a few months ago is correct. This is the end of the dark ages of spirituality. It's the end of it. This is the enlightenment of it. Now, when you called yourself, it makes my eyebrows go up a little bit. I can't understand it exactly. What do you mean by a mystic traveler?
So my journeys take me into the meta realm, the space of beyond the imagination.
Are these journeys during?
These are meditation journeys.
During meditation? Okay.
So remember, I call them journeys and not guided meditations.
Okay.
Because we open up the potential. It's all about opening up the potential and then creating probability out of the potentials. So if I find it very easy to go into meditations and, for example, move around in dimensions, to move into possibilities like different worlds where I exist. I had for example, when I first started working with Jean Houston, I had an idea of what I wanted. I was going to teach meditation, and she was going to be my guide to be a certain way, but it was really just doing things I'd learned. It wasn't me. I was trying to copy what other people did that made them successful. And so I had this amazing mentor that took me under her wing, and I thought, okay, I'm going to be the next Jean Houston. It's like crazy thinking.
Not bad.
But within the first couple of, actually less than a month after I started mentoring with her, my brother came down with pancreatic cancer. And it's a kind of cancer that, the pancreatic cancer that it was inoperable, and he had less than 3 months to live. And so my whole world shifted. And then working with Jean, we started to work on quantum space and looking at dimensions, and the fact that in every moment, more dimensions open up. So there's an infinite number of dimensions and realities. And anything that I can imagine or that I have an aptitude towards, I can already have fully activated and created and worked in a different dimension of myself. If you follow this first, she used the example of, she always loved music as a child, but they traveled around so much, so she couldn't have a piano. But when she was an adult, she started connecting with a dimension of herself that did have a piano and grew up playing piano. And she would interact with this other world, this other dimension, to the point that when she picked up an instrument, the violin, I believe, that she was able to learn it relatively quickly because she already had activated that inside of her.
She's going beyond the personal self.
Beyond the personal self. So with my brother, I had this interest. I'd been working with Deepak Chopra, and I'd been studying quantum, and I knew that there was a lot to this quantum healing. And so what about a world where they did quantum surgery, where you didn't have to actually go into the body, but you could work at that level of quantum? Right. And so I started working with that, meeting me in that other place, other dimension, other world, and working with my brother, who was in perfect health in that other world, and connecting that brother energetically to this brother. Right. Needless, it was months of he went into a coma. He had a lot of things happen. Something that was inoperable became operable. And it's a little over 10 years now and he's still alive.
Wow.
And
That's just phenomenal.
the journey, now I always say, I mean, I know some of what I did was very powerful work. And he had, my sister-in-law is Catholic and had the nuns all praying for him. And my sister is born again and had the prayer chains going. So we had a lot of people working from
So
many different
a lot
directions.
of what I'm hearing is the reason to get out of the ego, you don't have to destroy it, is that your mind is not all clogged up with all, where am I going to get the groceries? What are these people going to think? What if I say this? You're not clogged up with that stuff so that you can be free to drift through these other realms. I know with Leanne and some of the things she showed me with her paintings and talking about the same issue. Go ahead.
I was going to say that the beauty of my ego, the tool that I have, is I understood an idea about quantum. And then I was able to recognize a way to use energy through a quantum model, a tool to work with my brother. And it worked with me because I could viscerally believe it. And when you viscerally believe it, then you can create it and manifest it.
And you can do anything.
So that was my flavor to work with energy and how I did it. But each person, they can go on a journey with your entelechy. My higher self, my entelechy guided me to this potential and how it opened up for me.
Well, I have a feeling here that if we ask all the people sitting here how many people believe like along this line with us tonight, I think we're going to pretty much get everybody raising their hand. It's making sense to people. This is something you've been sensing inside. Okay, wonderful. I would like to take a moment while you talk and get a copy of your contacts in case people do want to contact with
Well,
you.
I'd like to see if people want to do the meditation I have, which
Well,
is,
we can do that. That's wonderful.
yeah, because I'd like to share it. It's a connection with your entelechy, a first introduction with the entelechy, and then you're going to receive a crystal, and you're just going to. One of the things that we do, I like to connect with the group and work with the collective. So be aware that you're meditating now with a group of people, and that energy, that cohesive field, amplifies your work, your depth. Knowing that if you're not going deep right now, you're triggering yourself for later for your dreams or your synchronicities tomorrow. Okay. Also, when we do this entelechy work, I think it's important to introduce those soul questions. Who am I? What is my purpose? How can I serve? Who am I really? You know, each of us have a beautiful gift. And I'm going to share this meditation, and then we can open up to questions, Rick, if that's okay. And
That'd be just fine.
okay, let's go ahead. So make yourself comfortable. And this is a recorded meditation, but that means I can meditate with you guys. So we'll do it all together. Okay. So let's begin. Let's close our eyes and begin to make yourself very comfortable, relaxing just as fully as you can. And for a little while now, with your eyes closed, let's bring your awareness to your breath as you breathe in and out. Just being aware of how you breathe in and out. Deepening the breath just a little
and notice your chest rise and fall with each breath. And now let's deepen into those long, slow belly breaths into the nose. Hold. Out through the mouth. Hold. And continue like this. Continuing to breathe these deep prana breathing. And imagining a sky blue color as you breathe in, filling your body with this prana, with this vital life force. And as you breathe out, releasing all tension, all stress, as if you're breathing out the color gray. Each breath in, a gentle wave of this energy, this sky blue energy. And each breath out, going a little deeper, a little more into that peace and stillness. Continuing that deep breathing as we connect once again with our higher self, with the one we call the entelechy of you. Placing your hands on your lap with your palms face up. And continue that deep breathing with your awareness on your hands now. And imagining standing there before you is your own high self, the entelechy of you. The one that looks upon you with so much love, knowing all of your failings and all of your triumphs, and loves you unconditionally. And imagining now and accepting that it is true, that entelechy is placing his or her hands over yours, and breathe into that connection. You may begin to feel a warmth, a tingling in your hands. Whatever it is, continue breathing and opening to the love that flows from this one who sees you, who knows you, and is there with you now. Through all the darkness and all the light, to shine with you who you really are. The one that is born from the light that you have inside of you, that knows the strength of your being and is helping you step into your fullness, into the brightness of you. And releasing the breath now, allowing yourself to slip into that gentle, resting rhythm. Entelechy turns to you and asks you to hold out your hands in front of you and receive into those hands a beautiful gift, a gift from your entelechy, a very special crystal. It is a crystal your entelechy has held for you throughout time, throughout all of time and beyond. It is a recorder of sorts, containing the memories of your soul. And once activated, this crystal works with synchronicity and will unlock seated wisdoms for you in those perfect moments. To activate the crystal, you simply receive the gift into your energy field and then explore it by opening all of your inner senses. We'll do that now together. So let's begin by first observing the crystal. Imagining what you see, the shape, the colors, any symbols, paying attention to any impressions you observe. And now let's explore the feeling or the touch of your crystal. Imagining what it feels like, the texture, the temperature, the weight. And notice how you feel holding the crystal, any emotions, any sensations. Now listening to your crystal, explore the sounds or the silence, any vibration, and maybe even words or melodies. And now smell. Is there any scent that comes to mind as you connect with your crystal? And finally, taste. Is there a flavor that comes to mind as you connect? Now, Entelechy places his or her hands over yours, still holding the crystal. And for just a moment, connect with your Entelechy and see if there is any other wisdom that you need to know in this moment about the crystal. Now, coming back to my voice, and back to your Entelechy. And holding the crystal now, bring it to your heart. And as you do, know that you are bringing it into your own energy field, that you carry that crystal with you, and it's there whenever you need it. And now looking up at your Entelechy and smiling, bringing your hands to your chest and bowing, Namaste. Seeing the divinity in the Entelechy is the divinity in you. Begin to be aware of the breath as you breathe into your body. Breathing all the way down into your toes, wiggling your toes and your fingers, and imagining again that red energy flowing down your body now like a warm blanket. And as it touches your body, you feel enlivened. You feel warm and safe and content to be in your body as this energy rolls down your body. Moving just a little more now and stretching. And when you're ready, at your own time, slowly, very slowly, opening your eyes. Welcome back. I hope you enjoyed.
Oh my God.
Good.
Oh,
We do these meditations every morning. I have a free meditation. It's a group meditation that we do 15 minutes or so of guided, where we connect with Entelechy and we weave the circle into a collective. And then we do 30 minutes of our own practice, whatever your practice is. We just go in silence and people pray or mantra meditation or breath meditation. And then we do 5 minutes of inspirational reading. And this month, we just started following the phases of the moon. So right now I'm leading people every day through what the phase of the moon is and how to use that moon energy in your life for your intentions. But that's free if anybody's interested.
I'm going to be putting up a contact sheet so everybody can see Entelechy. Okay, let me get the contact for Jennifer.
Well, I also want to put up this in chat. I put in the direct Zoom to my morning meditation.
Okay, we'll get that too. The chat I cannot share with the YouTubers.
Ah,
So maybe you want to announce what you're putting in chat.
they can go to my website because I don't want to put it
Okay,
out there to everybody.
there you go.
JenniferEvanko.com. If you go there, you can sign up for morning meditations there and access the same code that I just put in the chat here.
Now, what do you offer for your clients that are unable to move when it's over with?
That was that red blanket, the red energy.
Yeah, the
just
ones
now.
where you can't move, because everything's so fine.
Yeah. I always suggest after one of these meditations, again, these are journeys. So you're opening up at many levels and to really take time to come back into, it's great to go into your dreams and go to bed right afterwards. Or if it's in the morning and you're meditating, to drink some water, get out in nature, do some things that ground you before you go and operate heavy equipment. Okay.
Okay. Well, we may as well make the perfect segue to Leanne, your partner. And Leanne, I would like to put you on the spot and ask you if you'd like to be a guest on the show here in a little while when the time is right. Leanne has worked closely with Gina and with Jennifer for years, and I can't say it correctly. Leanne does these phenomenal drawings that are very complex and they're of your higher self. And maybe you can explain a little bit about what you do. And then we'll have you on some night and show several of these to people. Would you be willing?
I would be honored. I would love to do that, Rick.
Okay, but anyhow, Miss Leanne, what are these drawings you do, and how are they drawn, and what do they do for people?
So they are abstract paintings, and they are basically channeled paintings of a specific frequency. So some of them, like you mentioned, Rick, are of your higher self. It's that connection. It's a portal to your higher self. And then there are some that are a specific frequency, such as peace or love or unity. And so if you just have the painting hanging in your room, it affects the energy, the frequency of that space. And if you meditate with them with your eyes open, which is a super easy process, then you actually engage with that specific frequency, and it can really affect you on a very deep level.
And it's right down the quantum lane. Perfect. Well, I'll be talking with you and we'll get you a date to link you up with the show.
Leanne and I are doing a workshop together. We're teaching in Pittsburgh. I'll be coming back to Pittsburgh. It's on March 26th, a Saturday, and it's a one-day immersion into this meta realm. We're going to be using her ocular paintings, her meditations, and some human potential work that I'm going to share, and it's going to be amazing.
You gonna announce it on Facebook?
It's there. It's called the Holographic Matrix.
Okay, I think I've seen it. Okay, I'll be rebroadcasting that for you. Let's take the time we have now to open our phones up to people. If you'd like, just raise your hand if you'd like to ask Jennifer a question. Feel brave and feel sure of yourself. Let's just do it. Who's got questions for Jennifer? John, I felt you were. Let's get you unmuted. John is our resident lawyer, retiring lawyer. John, you're on with Jennifer.
I have a selfish question. My mother is from northern Italy, and I've always wanted to go there, but now I have another reason to want to go there. So, where is this eco place that you have?
Wow.
So I lead trips there regularly too, because Domenher is near Torino. It's Baldassarre, Canavese.
Okay, how do you spell it?
I'll have to get that to you. I'll get it to, if you just search Domenher That's their website.
Damanhur, Damanhur.
Yes. And it's anybody
Remarkable-
can go there.
Remarkable place.
Anybody can go and visit, and they have these temples to humankind, which are built by hand, dug into the side of a mountain in underground. And you don't even know you're underground when you're inside of them. They're just amazing. It's art and creation. And but when so you can go there and have a tour and get the very surface level of Damanhur. But when I take people on trips, we go and we do some mystery school classes. We spend the night in something that's called Contact the Cosmos, where we spend the night inside the temples, and we actually have some deep journeys.
Also, you can go to Rick DiClemente or Astrology Unplugged and put Damanhur, and you can go to my first episode where I had those three as my guests, and we show a lot about Damanhur in that episode.
Yes.
One other thing, if I can. I've had a God vision in my life, which changed my whole life. And your meditation kind of brought that back. So the crystal, I didn't have a crystal, but I had God's mind in me.
I'm getting chills. Yes.
Because I'm Christian, and I don't know really what it was. Whatever it was infinite and beyond anything. But so I had to give it a label, and I called it God. That's such a ridiculous label.
No, it's not.
Okay.
I call it something.
Gotta call it something, because, yeah. Anyhow, thank you.
That's beautiful. Thank you. I got chills when you said that. So it's just my little confirmation that you touched something there. Beautiful.
We look like Hollywood squares here. We got Come on, Linda. Somebody else? You got a question? Claudia?
I do have a question, and I guess I might already know the answer because of what listening to you speak. By the way, that meditation. Wow. That was really just beautiful. I have such an active dream life, but the dream life I can tell is, like you were saying, not just sorting out my day. Sometimes I can tell that that's what's happened.
Mhm.
And then other times I feel like I'm in other lives. I'm in other dimensions.
Mhm.
And I've felt this. I mean, I've had this for years and years, but the more I meditate, the more I have them. And the question was, do you think that's really what's happening? It's a silly
Yeah.
question.
No, it's not a silly question, because at times, I mean, you do know inside whether it's you are, like you said, you already know the answer. And
Right,
you do know.
right.
You do know. And I used to feel myself, Leanne and I used to laugh, and Gina, my other friend, that sometimes we felt at nighttime that we were working really hard and we didn't always know what we were doing, but we were traveling, we were doing things. And that life is as real as this life. That's another reality. I have a workshop coming up in April, the first weekend of April, again in Pittsburgh, but it's also going to be online. That's a dream workshop out of the mystery schools of Damanhur by this woman, Fermika, who is just phenomenal when it comes to dreams and dream research. She's done 40 years of research and living.
Oh, wow.
And Leanne will tell you too that she's an incredible teacher, and it's not to be missed.
Oh, well, that's fantastic. I'm not in Pittsburgh, but maybe I can
Online.
you know,
It's going to be online.
Yeah. This I find that meditation, ironically, has not. It doesn't come easily. Like I meditate, but I almost feel like I struggle. I struggle still. I definitely struggle.
Mhm.
But the consistency, even if I just do 10 minutes, I've been more consistent than ever. It's amazing the difference it's made in everything. I mean, we all know this, right? We all know it. But then even in the way that I'm just today, I thought, something's going to happen today with this, and it's going to be something with a Scorpio energy, and I could just feel it, and it did.
Can you give her any guidance? She wants to be a meditation teacher.
Who wants to be a meditation teacher?
Claudia.
Me.
Oh,
But
wonderful.
He
The
wants to
one who
be-
struggles.
He wants to be a meditation teacher.
You know, isn't that the perfect, I wanted to teach yoga because I sit and meditate. I don't move enough. So I thought, well, I learned to teach it, then I'll do it. Right.
Yeah,
But no, I
yeah.
applaud you. I just always look at, there are so many different ways to meditate. They really are. And
Mhm.
so when I teach somebody, I have my fallback. I love primordial sound and Deepak Chopra mantra meditation because it's effortless. And I think that's important for people to recognize, to have a technique that you don't have to concentrate and force. And it's really learning that thoughts are part of meditation. You can't, if you're not thinking, you're dead, right? It's
Mhm.
so learning a mantra meditation is wonderful. But
Yeah.
also
Yeah.
realizing there's some people that need to move, they can't sit, or they get frustrated if there's also a fear sometimes of going into no thoughts. I've had people tell me that they're afraid
Oh.
of nothingness.
Absolutely. Yes.
And
Yeah.
meditation brings you to a place that's not nothingness, it's fullness of everything. It's just
Mhm.
not aware of anything in particular, you're aware of everything.
Right.
But I would just listen to your students, and learn many different methods, breath, mantra, nature, mindfulness,
Mhm.
movement.
Anything really. I am cutting carrots, and that is a different activity now. It's very well, it's present and it's different than it ever was before, when I would be doing it like a task, like a chore. And now I kind of live it. I kind of live it fully. Um, I so I appreciate you talking to me, because it's really up my alley.
There's a book I wanted to write, or a whole theme about, we have this exchange of dollars and money, right? That's our currency. But we have something called vital units. And that's our attention and our awareness. When we put something on it, we're feeding that and sending energy with our vital life force, our vital units. And where you put your attention is very important and very powerful. So even when they created the temples of humankind in Damanhur, they did like you did with the carrots, where you are mindful of what you're doing and you're putting that energy into your work. And then when somebody eats those carrots, they're taking that love in, or you're nourishing yourself with that vital units. So there's an exchange that's happening at the level of energy. And I think
Yeah.
that's the new currency. Wouldn't it be wonderful?
Oh, that'd be
Well,
beautiful.
when you're all done, how small are the carrots?
Let me tell you, I make
I
a
bet
carrot.
they get minuscule.
I make a
carrot.
carrot ginger soup once a week that I'm obsessed with, and it requires 2 pounds of carrots.
Oh my God. Chop until you have
I
soup.
know.
That
Well,
would work.
thank you so much for the whole evening, Jennifer. It's
So
been
welcome.
wonderful.
You're
Thank
so
you.
welcome.
Other questions, anybody? Other questions? Come on, Eric. Kathy's got her hands up. Go ahead, Kathy, unmute yourself, and you're on with Jennifer.
First off, I really want to thank you for the information that you shared this evening. It was very powerful and just the bit of inspiration that I've needed at this moment. And what really caught my attention was the wheel, the action, the memory, desire, because I seem to be caught between action and memory right now.
Wow.
And going back and forth. Yes, particularly with some habits that I have. And being retired, it's just really easy to fall into that and kind of forgetting about that desire part of it. So this was a wonderful reminder to bring that back into the equation of how I live my life. So
Yeah.
thank you for that. This was wonderful. Thank you.
No, thank you.
I was a
Kathy.
big fan of Jean Houston.
Oh, she is an amazing woman. Incredible.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you.
How did she get her start?
Jean?
Yeah.
Gosh, she seemed to have a life that just kind of put her in that direction. Her father was a writer for Bob Hope and for some amazing people, creative writers. So she lived in that bigger than life world, and she started watching high creatives. What made these creative people
Mhm.
work? Like Margaret Mead, Buckminster Fuller,
Wow.
Joseph Campbell. She knew all these people,
Wow.
and she seemed to connect I always called her the Forrest Gump of human potential. She is in the background of all these amazing situations, and her stories, her book, what's her biography called? I'm looking on my bookshelf and I don't see it right here. It's her biography. It's so funny because she is such a gifted writer. You know, she always told me she hates to write. She's written over 30, 35 books now, and she hates to write, but she loves to cook. And so she steps into this inner personality of the cook, a chef, when she writes. And from there, she can actually write. She mixes the words like ingredients. And so these are other tips in human potential and how we can.
And she's a Taurus, and I've done her chart, but
Yeah.
I don't remember. I don't remember. I will have to look that up and feature her some night. Well,
She's a
anyhow,
double Taurus, I think. She's all
yeah, which is really unusual to go up into the skies when you're a Taurus. So she's got to have major Neptune, which we will take a look at some night. Again, reminding you of next week. Next week, I'm going to open up the gates to all this ugly stuff. What's going on in Ukraine? What's going on with the GOP? What's going on with the warmongers? What's going on in the United States chart? And it's not all bad news. There's a lot of good things happening too, because these two worlds have to eventually meet. They have to meet. In the meantime, I want to take a tremendous step backward and thank Jennifer for joining us tonight. We really appreciate it greatly.
You're so welcome.
And thank you for inspiring people like I knew you would. You can go to JenniferEvanko.com and know she's not the singer. It's spelled a little bit differently. And I don't think she'd want to sing for us. Maybe she would. And we will get you, Leanne, on the show. And I want to thank everybody for tuning in. There's the JCEvanko.com.
That's my private email, right? So please, if you want to talk, if you want someone to mirror back your higher self, your potentials, or do some mystic exploration together, I would love to connect.
Okay, thank you once again. Say hi to John. Thanks everybody for tuning in. Thank you YouTubers. Susan, you have safe travels and stay in the Badlands of South Dakota now. See you all. Good night, everybody. See you next week.